Bitcoin is back at 100K again for the first time in over 120 days and is setting up the mother of all short squeezes. Bitcoin is now the 6th largest asset in the world, and most people don't even realize that Bitcoin just passed Google in market cap. You heard that right. Bitcoin is bigger than Google or Alphabet, and retail is not even paying attention, proving that we are going much higher this bull run. Absolutely bullish stuff today. Feels good, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this feels good. We're back in the paint. All right, but before I move on, I do want to introduce my very awesome and special guest, Uncle Rockstar, with the absolutely epic video here. And of course, we got Luke. So Nico's studio setup was having some issues this morning, so we had to pull in the alternative in here. But let's get into this, guys. So as you can see here, Bitcoin is now the 6th largest asset by market cap. It has surpassed Alphabet, aka Google. Of course, it's putting silver in the dust. Feels really good. It looks like we're on the heels of Amazon. And, you know, as much as Bitcoiners don't like the market cap metric, I think these are some of the big metrics when you show like your normie friends is like, yo, Bitcoin is not going away. Bitcoin is here to stay. It is bigger than Google. And we all know how people feel about Google. It's quintessential with the modern times. Everyone's familiar with Google. Well, guys, Bitcoin is now bigger than Google. Now, some interesting metrics here. And when we set up the show, it didn't actually break 100K yet, but we have broken this. So it looks like the mother of all short squeezes is upon us. This was from yesterday. At 100K, $4 billion worth of Bitcoin will be liquidated. And then we saw this morning, I saw Carl Menger say basically something similar. At 100K, it'll be $3 billion in shorts liquidated. So I think people are taking their shorts off because they saw what was going on. And here, just to update, we're not going to do any TA here, guys, but just to prove we are still above 100K, because sometimes when we do the price videos, Bitcoin does crazy things. It's super volatile and it goes under. So I'm over here on TradingView at 1 minute chart so you guys can see it. We're currently at 101K, guys. So this one does feel good. This reclaiming of 100K feels like we have earned this price. It feels good. Now, another interesting little metric here, guys, is, of course, you know how we love Google Trends. Now, check out the Bitcoin Google Trends. This is just how I know we're going higher. Not only do we have institutional capital, we have an insane Bitcoin ETF inflows, but no one is searching for Bitcoin yet. I think retail is either one just completely broke right now because inflation. No one has free money anymore like the past, which really makes you wonder whether retail is going to dive into Bitcoin or at what price they start to FOMO into Bitcoin. But if you look at the trends here, guys, Google Bitcoin searches are pretty low. They're looking like they are in basically bear market territory. So we haven't even caught the FOMO yet. Yes, Bitcoin price is driven by, the high net worth individuals, institutional capitals, really rich people. But once you get the FOMO, as the saying goes, once the shoe boy shining kid is talking about Bitcoin, this is when you are in peak bull run territory. Well, we haven't got there yet, guys. The interest around Bitcoin is dead. No one is paying attention. Bitcoin's at 100K. It's the 6th largest asset in the world. And everyone is asleep at the wheel. Unless you're in Bitcoin, you're probably not aware of what Bitcoin is doing today. Now, another little interesting story in here. We've been covering this for a while. I know everyone has a prediction of where the price is going, but I saw this morning and I thought it was pretty funny. So Standard Chartered, which is a $1 trillion bank here, they apologize for not being bullish enough, guys. This is where we are in the cycle. They made a prediction of 120K target for Bitcoin end of year. Now they're like, I think 120K by Q2. And just to quote here a little bit, of course, talking to Standard Chartered's head of digital asset research, Jeffrey Kendrick has revised his Bitcoin prediction, suggesting that its previous 120K target for the second quarter could be too conservative. I quote, "I apologize that my 120K Q2 target may be too low," citing growing institutional interest and inflows into U.S. listed spot Bitcoin ETFs as a primary factor to this change in stance. And we even got this tweet here coming out of Block. It's podcast, but I'm just going to read the headline. Of course, David Bailey, probably the most bullish guy on on Twitter, highly regardedly bullish here. I like this. I like this headline, though. Bitcoin becoming global reserve asset sooner than most of you think. And of course, also citing the growing institutionalization and geopolitical adoption as reshaping its role. So, guys, I don't know about you. I'm starting to feel really bullish. I feel like 100K feels good today. We're sixth largest asset in the world. Looks like we are holding that position. We did kind of cross this position a couple of weeks ago, but it went up and then it went down and then the stock market pumped. And so we were back at like 8. But it looks like we are holding this 101K position really good. Let's see how far we can run. I know a lot of us have been saying, I've been saying on the show, it seems like all-time high by end of month. Well, it looks like it's closer than we think, guys. So let me know in the chat. Actually, I will do a poll real quick. While I'll pass it over to Uncle Rockstar, the legendary Uncle Rockstar on the show. I know you're more on the dev side. I know a lot of people say, hey, don't worry about the price. But how does 100K feel for you? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin passing Google?
No, I'm in it for technology, right? Like everyone else. No, I love when Bitcoin is going up because, as you can see from my background, it means we burn this dirty fiat at a better rate. So, and I think everyone loves seeing the number go up because it's one of the easiest ways to explain how Bitcoin is valuable. It's like compare it with USD. So even though I am in it for technology, seriously, I love seeing price go up, and people that discuss price, yeah, more power to you.
Yeah. Well, Uncle Rockstar, you've been on the show before in person, but we have been claiming a new moniker here. We are part of the Clickbait Cabal on YouTube, and we're playing the game well here. So we'll see what happens today. I was thinking, hey, look, Bitcoin's back at 100K. Bitcoin's the sixth largest asset in the world. People don't understand where Bitcoin is going. So let's just lean into it. Let's lean into it. And on that trend of clickbait cabal scammers here, we have Luke, the mother of all clickbait scammers on YouTube. So Luke, what's your thoughts on all this stuff? Give the people some hope today.
Oh, the people need hopium. Come on, we're back at 100K, guys. I don't think I need to dish the hopium out to you guys. What I thought really interesting, what I think is really interesting, is the fact that if you look at Google search trends for Bitcoin, retail is absolutely sleeping right now. Opti and I were looking at this morning. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. Bitcoin's back at 100K, but search trends for Bitcoin is like at bear market lows. It's at the same it was at 2.5 years ago when Bitcoin was at $15,000 a coin after FTX crashed. So a lot of people are saying, oh, Bitcoin topped at 100K. BlackRock is distributing their coins. They're using retail as exit liquidity. There's a lot of these narratives around, trying to paint the picture that Bitcoin's topped at 100K. Again, who knows where the price of Bitcoin is going in the short term? Again, price is the least interesting thing about Bitcoin, but I just find it highly unlikely that Bitcoin's topped at 100K. I think retail is absolutely sleeping at the wheel right now, and I think they're going to be woken up later on in the year when Bitcoin's much, much higher than it is right now.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, I'm kind of sad Nico's not on the show today because he's been very bearish lately, and the chat's been noticing that he's been very bearish lately, and you can tell he's having mood swings based on the price movement. And it would have been a good day to just rub it in his nose. Hey, dude, just tune out. He tells us all the time to not watch the Bitcoin price, and then he's sitting here like, man, I'm feeling worn out. When are we getting back to all-time high? So hey, we told you, Nico, stay bullish here. This is ridiculous. I can't believe he's on a Bitcoin show being a bear, guys. So maybe next time Nico's back on the show, he's actually probably going to be back on Monday, guys. So you're stuck with me this week. Anyways, let's get into the show because we got a bunch of stuff for you guys. So in the numbers, I got a clip on Jack Mallers kind of debating Bitcoin versus gold, Bitcoin as, you know, superior perfect money, programmable, etc., why it's better than gold. And in the news, I got some news updates for you guys regarding state adoption of Bitcoin. We had some laws passed over the last couple of days, ever since New Hampshire announced their strategic Bitcoin reserve on the state level. We have some interesting news coming out. It seems like the states are falling very quickly to pass stuff. And then in the culture, as you can tell, we have Uncle Rockstar here, and we are going to kind of cover a little of the op return controversy stuff. We did it last week. We actually did it literally last Thursday. We'll do it this Thursday again, but Uncle Rockstar is going to announce something really awesome that I want you guys to be a part of. So on that note, let's get into the show. But of course, before I move on, I want to remind you guys, smash the like button, subscribe, comment on the show, all-time high by end of month or this weekend. What are your guys' thoughts? But first, got to give a shout out to our lead sponsor, Bitcoin Well. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simplybtc to sign up to Bitcoin Well. They're the best place to buy your Bitcoin. They literally can never rug pull you. AKA, they never hold your Bitcoin. When you send them money, you got to give them a Bitcoin address, and then the Bitcoin gets delivered right to your cold storage. This is the best way to avoid getting rug pulled like FTX or Mt. Gox or anything like that. They literally never touch your Bitcoin. And when you sign up with the promo code SimplyBTC, you will get 3 chances to win 1 million sats in the Bitcoin wishing well. So let's go into here. I will do this live. Of course, pull out your Lightning wallets real quick. See, maybe you guys can get 1 million sats. Let's do it live. Let me make sure this is off for you guys. And first come, first serve, we will have, what's it say? 602 sats. So generational wealth right there, guys. Generational wealth. All right. On that note, guys, let's get into the show. We got a jam-packed show for you.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, guys, I'm over here on Clark Moody's dashboard, and for some reason it, it erased all my favorites. So I just had to add some really quick for you guys here. Again, go to dashboard.clarkmoody.com. And of course, the Bitcoin price currently is $101,100. The sats per dollar, aka how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, aka how much the dollar is worth in Bitcoin, is under 1,000 sats. We're currently at 989 sats per dollar. The market cap, we have reclaimed the $2 trillion market cap. Let's go. We are back. So we're at 2.01 trillion. The decline from all-time high is minus 7.4%. I think the chat might be right. We might be reclaiming all-time highs by the end of the week. And the last metric I have here, because my favorites got all messed up, we have Bitcoin versus gold market cap is currently at 8.64%. We have a lot of room to run. And now let me see if I can find the total percentage. Here we go. Total percentage of Bitcoin that will ever be issued is currently at 94.58%, which means that there is roughly 19.86 million Bitcoin in circulation. All right, guys. So as I was telling you, I've really been liking these edits by Jack Mallers lately. Whoever the editor is, you're killing it. And of course, Jack Baller's out here. He's always really good at talking about what's going on in Bitcoin. And we have been seeing this kind of growing trend the last couple of weeks. And maybe I'll pull up the metrics after I run this. But we've been seeing that even though gold's kind of going to all-time high right now, and Bitcoin is starting to rip, a lot of people are trying to find the reasons for it. We did see an interesting metric come out this week in regards to inflows into the ETFs. So I know you guys don't like the ETFs, but I think this is an indicator of where institutional interest is because we saw that the BlackRock Bitcoin ETFs, the spot liquidity has surpassed the inflows into the gold ETF. So it looks like institutional capital does not want gold. They want that Bitcoin exposure. Maybe the meme of digital gold is catching on, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it looks like people don't want that physical Bitcoin, AKA gold. So let's play this clip real quick and then we will chat about it.
I often say Bitcoin's such a unique money relative to gold because it's software. And software, we're going to be able to make Bitcoin better forever. That's super unique, right? It's a software project. Bitcoin's going to be improving long after I die. It's going to be infinitely better forever. Bitcoin's the first man-made money. We found gold. It was the best thing to fit the monetary profile to save our time and energy that we found in the ground. We made Bitcoin. If I were to be alive hundreds of years ago and all I needed to transact with was my tailor down the street, my butcher down the street, my grocer down the street, and I can exchange gold coins, gold was fine. Gold was fine. The problem is that's not who I need to transact with today. Today, I maybe order Uber Eats. I maybe need to buy something off Amazon from someone across the world. We live in a digital age. We live in a global economy of billions and billions of people. So in order for gold to work, you have to take your gold, deposit it at a bank, deposit it with a government, and then they give you a certificate to transact in gold. That doesn't work. Why does that not work? All the gold was concentrated in the United States of America. They took advantage of that, said we're going to become the world reserve currency, and then one day they just pulled the rug. Whoops, just kidding. We don't have the gold. So that level of trust. Now, how did Bitcoin solve that? Bitcoin is both a monetary asset and a monetary network. So you can achieve transactional settlement without having to deposit your Bitcoin at a Coinbase, without having to deposit your Bitcoin with the US government. That's the beauty of it. Really, being human is about engineering a better world, and Bitcoin is the latest iteration of that. It's really understanding monetary properties, understanding the successes and failures of money, understanding the problems of central planning of a highly inflationary fiat currency and the evils of central banks, and engineering a better world, taking the latest technology and making the perfect iteration of it. And that's crazy to me.
Again, I absolutely love these edits here. This is some grade A propaganda here. Shout out to Jack Mallers and his team. This is great stuff. Though I might nitpick a little bit here because he said something that I know he's talking about gold versus Bitcoin here, but he said something on the lines of Bitcoin is the first man-made money. I might argue a little differently because we have fiat currencies, which is, I would argue the first man-made money. But to kind of tweak his statement, Bitcoin is the first perfect man-made money. So, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide a little bit here. But anyways, Rockstar, you are more of a dev. As everyone knows, Uncle Rockstar Dev here. What's your idea with this kind of framing that he has here, that Bitcoin as software will be able to be tweaked forever to become even better money? I know we're going to go into the op return controversy a little bit here, so it's kind of a fitting topic to have here on the show with you today. But anyways, what's your thoughts after watching this Jack Mallers clip?
Hopefully not, because if we keep tweaking Bitcoin and adding features, changing it, we're really messing with Bitcoin, because the only way that we go down to zero is if there is some kind of critical bug in Bitcoin that the rug pulls everyone. So this is one thing where I disagree with Jack in that video. I like the path of ossification. Bitcoin is great as it is. Of course, there is need for critical fixes, security fixes, so on and so forth. But no, I hope that we don't go into future where we're tinkering with Bitcoin the way that Ethereum crowd with Vitalik is doing. I mean, you agree with me, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
and then and then what you were saying about man-made money, absolutely right. Fiat, like I actually like when I see what fiat has allowed us to do over past century. But it's quite obvious that as technology is now obsolete, and we have better technology that Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin, as you say, Opti, is as close to perfection as we as humans got. So that's what all the gold crowd will recognize, is that gold is old, you can't use it, and Bitcoin will demonetize it. And the great thing is that Bitcoin will demonetize speculation not only on gold, but on anything that people are today getting in beyond the utility value. You know how people are speculating on real estate. Like why would you speculate on real estate when you can just speculate on Bitcoin price? It's so much better. Like liquidity is so much better. So I don't know if I should even address gold crowd. To me, those people just they will get to the point where they realize Bitcoin is 100 times superior to gold as a store of value.
Yeah, 100%. It really does feel, like Bitcoiners and gold are like both hard money guys. It seems like we're kind of in the same direction, but it really does feel like you're talking to your boomer uncle sometimes. And he's just like, yeah, I don't care about this new technology. Like, what if they cut off the internet and the electricity? And it's like, we have way bigger problems than that. Like uncle, not Uncle Rockstar, but boomer uncle. Like if that were to happen, we're basically back in the Stone Ages, and you probably need something else than gold to survive, aka like ammo and food. So I don't think we're going back to the Stone Ages here, Uncle Boomer. But it is interesting when you talk with them about stuff.
I think with gold people, it's the same. When we talk to gold people, I would tell, hey, gold people, this is how you talk to people that are in silver.
Yeah.
like silver is absolute shit coin compared to gold. But you have this silver crowd that's speculating, and they think it's gonna overtake gold and whatnot. So yeah, gold people, sorry, like that's how we see you.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. I love that analogy. The way you look at silver bugs is how we look at you, gold bugs. Absolutely great framing. All right, Luke. As an also grade A clickbait scammer propagandist, what's your thoughts on this clip here from Jack Mallers?
So firstly, I love the clip. I want to double down on Rockstar's sentiment regarding gold. I think there's a lot of Bitcoiners in the space who just think that Bitcoin's just going to be another asset. It's just going to be digital gold 2.0. It's just going to be worth, $500,000, $1 million a coin, maybe $2 million a coin, because they just look at the world with their linear lenses. They just think, okay, Bitcoin's just better gold. It's just going to be a little bit better than gold. And I just think that's highly unlikely. I think the Bitcoiners who think that probably should be thrown in the same bucket as the gold bugs. I think the thinking here is, like Rockstar said, Bitcoin's 1,000 times better than gold. I just think it's highly unlikely we're not going to not only completely demonetize gold, but completely demonetize all of the other buckets of value around the world, where hundreds of trillions of dollars are looking to be parked and looking for a safe home. So again, I don't want to go off on any unrelated tangents here, but I just think the whole argument of Bitcoin versus gold, I think this was settled a long time ago. I think it was settled well and truly after the block size wars happened in 2017. I think once Bitcoin demonstrated it could not be changed and it could not be manipulated by the rich, by the rulers who wanted to change the rules of Bitcoin, I think it was abundantly clear Bitcoin was going to go much higher than gold's market cap. Where is gold today? What, 15 to 20 trillion dollars? I think that's just a little stepping stone that Bitcoin's going to surpass in the not too distant future here.
Yeah, and I mean, really, realistically, the only real argument that I would say gold bugs have on Bitcoin is just it's been around longer. It's just people are just more exposed to the idea of gold. And at this point, Bitcoin is 16 years old. It's still, a very, very young technology in the grand scheme of things. People don't trust it yet because it hasn't been around. The only thing gold has is this sense of legitimacy that, like, hey, we've been using gold forever, bro. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. But, you know, we were once using horses forever, and then cars came around. It's just better technology. This is just better money tech. And whether you like it or not, you will be forced to accept the fact that we have a better money technology. I think people forget that money is a technology. We're so used to using it that we don't even think anymore about it. Like, we don't critically think about what money is because we're just trying to survive and get as much money as possible. But when you really break down the mechanics of money, it's just like, it's a technology for society to scale. And we have a better money for society to scale here. It's sorry, as much as, you know, a lot of people would like to go back to gold, we're going to Bitcoin. It is what it is. And, you know, gold bugs, have fun holding your bags here. Anyways, let's jump into some state news here, because we do have some state updates. And, you know, some, you're calling us clickbait scammers here, but we're seeing some crazy tweets about these state news. And some of them are, they don't sound that good, but we have some state updates on strategic Bitcoin, or quote, strategic Bitcoin reserves here. So let's get into all that.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Casa makes self-custody easy and secure. As a Bitcoiner, I care about holding my own private keys, but multi-sig can sometimes get tricky. Casa nails it with a multi-key security. So even if one key gets lost or stolen, your Bitcoin stays safe. And you don't give up custody, meaning no one could access your Bitcoin but you. No seed phrase anxiety, no single point of failure. I've been telling my friends and family about Casa for years. Their UX and UI on their app is by far the best in the industry. Inheritance planning is built in, and they even offer Casa for Business if you're thinking about a Bitcoin treasury. Hit up casa.io today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium. Head over to casa.io.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, CoinKite. If you take your Bitcoin security seriously, you'll need the best Bitcoin hardware wallet on the market to take self-custody. That's where Cold Card comes in. The Cold Card Q is the most advanced Bitcoin signing device ever made. It's got a full keyboard, larger screen, and NFC support, making air-gap signing easier than ever. It's built for power users who want the ultimate security without sacrificing usability. And if you're looking for a battle-tested, uncompromising cold storage, the Cold Card MK4 is your go-to with PSBT signing, an industrial-grade secure element, and USB-C. It's the perfect blend of security and convenience. Both devices are, of course, 100% Bitcoin only, open source, and built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Secure your Bitcoin the right way with the Cold Card Q and the MK4. Head over to coldcard.com today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the store.
All right, guys, I can't model it and do the ad, but you already know, get yourself this sexy hardware wallet. Go to coinkite.com and use the promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off. This is the industry standard hardware wallet. All right, guys, so let's get into all of the different state updates in the United States. So we covered this, a couple days ago. This is not where we're starting, or this is not what we're covering, but it's where we're starting. As you've probably heard, the big news that came out of the states is New Hampshire just became the first state to establish a crypto reserve, or rather a Bitcoin reserve, and they announced that they will invest about 10% of the state funds into Bitcoin. But it seemed to at least kind of start this domino effect here going on, which I find very interesting. And it's something that we kind of talk about here on the show all the time, is like the game theory on Bitcoin is if you don't play the game, you're going to get left in the dust. And I find the timing very interesting that once we got this first state bill passed, it seems like other bills are now pushing these bills through very quickly. So following up, this one's the iffy one. All right. So this was the one that followed very quickly. I think it was a day after this came out, May 7th, yesterday. And, the headline is Arizona enacts new law to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But when you read this press release, I don't know. I'm good. I'm glad Uncle Rockstar's here, because I'll get his take. Because from my reading, it doesn't sound too good. And we'll have a couple other state updates here. So from Arizona, we have Arizona enacts new law to secure unclaimed digital assets and establish a Bitcoin reserve fund. And while I was reading this morning and, getting everything prepared, I'm like, what does even unclaimed digital assets mean? Like, what are they even talking about? So here we go. Arizona is the first state in the nation to keep digital assets in their native form for unclaimed property. Following the signing of House Bills 2749 into law today, this legislation passed both the chambers of the legislature and bipartisan support. It was championed by House Commerce Committee Chairman Jeff Wenninger. HB 2749 updates Arizona's unclaimed property laws to account for the growing presence of digital assets, including cryptocurrencies. The law establishes a clear process for identifying and handling unclaimed virtual property, protects the value of digital assets held by the state, and creates a reserve fund that may be used for future appropriations with legislative approval. And it goes, quote, digital assets aren't the future, they're the present. This law ensures Arizona doesn't leave value sitting on the table and puts us in a position to lead the country in how we secure, manage, and ultimately benefit from abandoned digital currency. We built a structure that protects property rights, respects ownership, and gives the state tools to account for a new category of value in the economy. It's exactly the kind of policy we should be leading on, modern, precise, and built with an understanding of where technology and finance are heading. And just to wrap this up, he goes, under the new law, digital assets are presumed abandoned if the rightful owner fails to respond to communications over a 3-year period. Once deemed abandoned, holders must deliver the digital assets to the Department of Revenue in their native form. The state's qualified custodians are authorized to stake these assets to earn rewards or receive airdrops. Any staking rewards or airdrop assets will be deposited into the new Bitcoin and Digital Assets Reserve Fund administered by the state treasurer and subject to legislation appropriation. I don't know. When I hear this, it reminds me of what we saw with the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve on a federal level. It sounds like, they are greenlighting this idea of confiscating your Bitcoin so that they can, steal your Bitcoin and then put it on their balance sheet. That's my read of this. But apparently everyone's taking this as kind of a win that we finally got another state to follow a Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill to go through. But upon reading this, I don't think it's that bullish. Call me crazy. Maybe this is just my bias here. But yeah, Uncle Rockstar, what's your take on this?
Yeah, the thing is that this is where I clash with Dennis because I love Dennis Porter. Sorry, but now I'm on recorded that I love Dennis Porter. And I'll need to address Penis Daughter as well, I guess, in due time. But no, with this, the thing is this bill does not provide a path to purchasing digital assets. It provides a path to essentially, it's a temporary reserve that Arizona has this abandoned property statute. And then this now includes digital property and provides guidance for custody. The thing is, from what I know, after a 3-year holding period, these assets are to be sold. So it's definitely not a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I think it's kind of, I wish we didn't advertise it as that because it's definitely not the same. But kudos to Satoshi Action Fund for trying to push the ball forward. It's just that it would have been much better if they didn't advertise it as a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And all right, now moving forward, we got another Bitcoin bill. This one's coming through from Oregon. This isn't a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill, but Bill SB 167 has been signed into law, and the bill provides clarity on how digital assets are treated. Example, legally recognized as collateral. So I'll read the summary real quick. And then we have another one that I also was reading, and it's interesting. So SB 167 integrates digital assets into the UCC primarily through Article 12, which governs controllable electronic records like cryptocurrencies, defining control, transfer, and priority rules. Article 9 is amended to include security interests in CERs, controllable accounts, payment intangibles, and electronic money with control-based perfection mechanisms. Other UCC articles are updated to recognize electronic records, signatures, and hybrid transactions, ensuring compatibility with digital asset transactions. Transitional provisions provide 1-year adjustment periods to align existing interests with the new framework, effective upon passage in 2025. So it looks like they're trying to push through all these different Bitcoin bills. Now, the more interesting one that was framed as on Twitter, Missouri passes a bill to eliminate capital gains on Bitcoin. At first, I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. It wasn't specifically about Bitcoin, but it wasn't necessarily a clickbait. It wasn't it wasn't a lie. It was kind of truthful. So, Missouri is poised to become the first U.S. state to exempt stock sale profits from income taxes. So it's getting pushed through. But I think if this does pass, this would be huge. This is what a lot of us Bitcoiners would talk about. It's like, hey, if the U.S. really wants to be the leader in Bitcoin, all they got to do is eliminate cap gains and treat Bitcoin as money. And that's how we become the Bitcoin superpower of the world. So investors who profit from selling stocks, real estate, and other assets soon could reap an even larger benefit in Missouri, which is poised to become the first U.S. state to exempt capital gains from its income tax. Legislation that won final approval Wednesday would halt the capital gains tax this year for individuals and could eventually eliminate it for corporations if state revenues keep growing. Though proponent, hold on, there's a point in here where they specifically go, all right, so you can see, well, you know, what are capital gains? Capital gains are profit from the sale of assets such as stocks, cryptocurrencies, or property. And as you can see from the framing in the beginning, it says stocks, real estate, and other assets. So if this goes through and Missouri is able to eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin, this is the type of legislation I would want to see. This is, I think, would be the huge story coming out. I know a lot of Bitcoiners are talking about this, so we'll keep an eye on that, but seeming promising. I like Rockstar said, gotta give kudos where it is due. And the fact that we're trying to push stuff forward, push the football forward, and get some favorable Bitcoin regulation. You know, I can't really, you know, talk too much smack about it. It's not pretty. Some of this stuff is not what I would like to see. Again, just eliminate cap gains on Bitcoin and we would win. Undoubtedly. This is the big move here. But you're starting to see that ever since the New Hampshire news story, other states are trying to push through Bitcoin bills. Whether they're good or not, I don't know. I guess only time will tell. But you can see that there's an effort to push these Bitcoin bills through now. So we'll see if we get any more news on actually these states or federal governments actually buying Bitcoin. But the fact that the price of Bitcoin is at 100K, I'm kind of okay with them dragging their feet here so that everyone else can buy Bitcoin before they start pumping the price up. So, hey, as I've been saying, the real separation of money and state is the price running. So these states and nation states can't actually buy Bitcoin. So if you're watching this and you haven't, you know, doubled down on your Bitcoin accumulation strategy, now might be the time. I saw a couple people say you will no longer be able to buy under 0.1 million Bitcoin anymore. So let's hope we don't jinx that. But it looks like we might be seeing the start of the bull run, or rather the last leg of the bull run, without the states and the nation states buying Bitcoin, or the state government and the federal government. We all know institutional capital is coming in. They're very, very bullish on Bitcoin, but it's about you, the individual, holding the best money in the world in cold storage so you can control your money. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to see. Okay, ranted enough. Let's go to Luke first. Luke, what's your thoughts on all these bills? Is it a coincidence that they followed New Hampshire? What's your thinking around this process?
So I like to just zoom out from the noise. I just think in 5 years, every single state, every single nation state is going to be forced to have some sort of a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I just think it's inevitable. And I just think the dominoes that we are starting to see fall today is just kind of proof that I think things are going to, you know, accelerate from here to there. I don't know what's going to happen in the interim. I never like to look at things in the short term or even the medium term. I just think in the long term, or even the medium term, let's get more bullish. In the medium term, most people are simply too bearish on Bitcoin, and they're not paying attention to all of these massive catalysts that are happening on the short term. I think a lot of people are kind of sick of the strategic Bitcoin reserve announcements. There's something like 30 different nations all around the world talking about and trying to implement a strategic Bitcoin reserve, whether they're actually past it and they're buying Bitcoin, or they're trying to push bills through Parliament. 30 nation states is huge. Like, if you had to ask this 2 years ago, where would the price of Bitcoin be if you have 30 nation states trying to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, I would have told you we're at $1 million a coin. I know we're here at 100,000. So I think that's the kind of asymmetry here. I think the price is not actually reflecting the underlying fundamentals. We have the largest nation state in the world and the global reserve currency issuer openly saying they want to be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. I mean, none of this stuff is priced in. So I just think on a medium term or even a long-term time horizon, everybody is massively under allocated to Bitcoin. And I don't think they're prepared to, weather and survive how Bitcoin gets from point A to point B.
Yeah, totally. As Rexana said, there's been a lot of talk, but not much action. And I think this is what we're seeing. Everyone wants to get the narrative or spin the narrative that they're embracing Bitcoin, but until they're buying Bitcoin, it's all talk, man. It's all talk. Anyways, Rockstar, you want to chime in here before we get into some juicy stuff in the culture with you?
Oh, absolutely. Because I now look, as you were talking about what is this, whether you're optimistic, long term, medium term, whatever it is. I was running a chat GPT inquiry on like, if you bought Bitcoin at any point, what was the longest time that you needed to wait until you were in green, right? And chat GPT saying like 3 years, which is crazy. Yeah, if you like bought Bitcoin in December of 2017, you would need to wait until December 2020 to be in positive. And 3 years is not really long term. And having that kind of optimism is great. Like having that data for your to solidify your optimism is great. Now, maybe I am wrong and Chat GPT is wrong. Someone from the audience can also research this, but with Bitcoin, what's amazing is that you can just DCA into it and it will be going up. And that you're part of the team that has Michael Saylor, that has Jack Dorsey, that has Cynthia Lummis, that has Nico, So I absolutely love that. And that's my biggest takeaway on thinking now. Do you want my take on this bills as well?
Yeah, maybe just in general. I mean, you kind of already touched on it in the first one, but I would say maybe you're probably a little more hardcore than most of our audience here. So do you think even the adoption of Bitcoin from nation states and states themselves is a good thing? Was this something that you can't fight? It was like an inevitability. It was going to happen anyways. I'd just like to hear your general thoughts on that idea, because it has been kind of like the current thing to be talking about.
No, man. For me, I always look at everything is good for Bitcoin. Everything. It's just that for individually, for us, now that Trump is here shilling Bitcoin, obviously he's way better at it than I am. So I need to take my step back with public appearances, and it's just my public appearances of shilling Bitcoin will not be nowhere near as good as Trump's or Luke's. Like Luke is much better phase than Uncle is. And I think we should all embrace that, because then you as a Bitcoiner, you have more free time. You can, do other stuff other than be online and try to get people into Bitcoin and orange pill them. And in that sense, yeah, all these bills that are happening, like they're great. They're good for Bitcoin from my perspective. And we should embrace that as Bitcoiners. Like you are now saying that people are accusing you of having two like clickbaity titles. Well, you know what, people, Simply Bitcoin crew here, you're scamming people into profits. So to go next level with clickbait titles, because unlike this clickbait titles that lead people into this whole luxury lifestyle of a influencer on YouTube, like that doesn't give anything to their audience. With your clickbait titles, people are getting into Bitcoin. You're scamming them into profits. So more power to you.
I love that. We are scamming you into hard money. It could be worse, guys. It could be worse. Oh man, Rockstar, I love you. I absolutely love you. All right, guys. So in the culture, Uncle Rockstar wants to announce something super huge that's coming up. But since I have, a developer here and there's still the whole, core op return controversy going on, there was just a debate at Bitcoin Plus yesterday. I have a little clip from that. I want to get Uncle Rockstar's thoughts on this stuff so we can talk about it a little more and then really hit on something that I think is really special that Uncle Rockstar wants to announce for you guys today. So let's get into all that.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledn has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally not only have an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledn is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to hodl while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you today. Simply Bitcoin viewers get 0.25% off their first loan by using the link in the video/podcast description. What are you waiting for? Head over to ledn.io today.
All right, guys, here we are. And shouts out to ARF, €5 super chat. He goes, it's a perfect segue. Knott's versus core debate. Where do you stand? Well, I'm glad you asked the question because we are going to chat about it right now. So as I was saying, there was a conference, Bitcoin Plus. I'm pretty sure it was in Austin. There was a great Oxford style debate last night. I'd highly suggest you watch the whole thing. They were basically talking about this all day. And of course, at the interest of time, I couldn't bring you the whole debate here, but there was a pretty good clip going around on Twitter. This is coming from our boys over at TFTC. And so I'm just going to play this, and then we're going to get Uncle Rockstar's take, because I would say he probably has a better grasp of what's going on here. Can explain it to you guys. So here is the video, and the tweet is Bitcoin spam subjective? And you can see all the key figures here that are, at the heart of this controversy are on stage talking about this. So I'll play this, and then we will chat about it, and then Uncle Rockstar is going to announce something awesome for you.
Is spam subjective? Is spam subjective?
Yes.
Can we vote? Is spam subjective or is it objective? I say subjective.
There is an objective difference.
I'd love to hear this, Luke. Tell us more.
Bitcoin's design allows miners to put up to 95 bytes per block of arbitrary data in the Coinbase. That is completely different from spam, which is encoding this arbitrary data to look like something it is not, to deceive nodes into accepting it. Completely different.
It's very different. We've never had a problem with people writing ant pool in a Coinbase. It's fine. No one has a problem with
You said deceiving someone into them thinking it's what it's not, but surely then there's just a perception issue. It's not, and it's not really. That's not really a technical judgment, is it?
If you submit JPEG as a transaction, it will be rejected by every single node. You have to obfuscate it and make it look like something it's not to make it accepted.
Sure. So,
is there an objective way to tell if someone's lying?
Jameson's been waiting for a minute, Walton. Yeah. Come on.
Okay.
Jameson.
Look, this debate is fascinating because we have one side that is being the autistic technical people and the other side that is being more ideological, and each side will refuse to admit that You know, the technicals will say
Which
this
side
is
is
not an
which?
ideological debate. The ideologicals will refuse to admit this is a technical debate. I think it's fascinating, though, that there is overlap. Can we get a quick show of hands? Who on stage wants to see JPEGs in the blockchain?
Are the
If they're
JPEGs
my
actually in the
JPEGs.
blockchain?
I think like there is consensus that we all agree that there is some absolutely ridiculous stuff being put in the blockchain.
I couldn't care less. Let them pay the fees. I think Shinobi was right earlier. He said this is about economic incentives.
the
You've got to
moderator.
let them pay the fees, and you have to if you want to see certain kind of transactions in the mempool or in the blockchain, then you need to have economic incentives that drive those kinds of transactions to outprice other kinds of transactions. Am I wrong?
I'd say actually kind of yes, because this idea of outpricing things doesn't actually go work in ways that necessarily we would want.
Agreed.
But we just have to accept that, you know, this is how Bitcoin works, and you might not like the fact that people can make a ton of money off ordinals with a bunch of bullshit hype, and all you can realistically do is design, for instance, better L2s so that fee spikes don't matter. I mean, I was affected with, you know, speeds going up because, of course, I run open timestamps calendars, which incidentally put data in the chain.
Arbitrary data.
Arbitrary
Boo.
data. And it cost me a lot of money in fees.
Well,
it meant that my
should-
timestamping was slower.
Exactly. So you pay fees.
Maybe you should fix it so that it doesn't add data. It doesn't need to add data. We've got Taproot. We've got pay-to-contract stuff.
And
There's
I
no
have made
reason
design
that open-
choices in open timestamps to go and use additional data in the chain precisely because of various technical things that, you know, don't make sense in my trade-offs. Also, the fact I have a transaction that I need to make is adding data to the chain, even if it may not be obvious. I mean, I need to make these transactions. Like that, it doesn't matter how the hell I encoded it, that is adding quote-unquote spam. It's non-financial transactions.
Okay, guys. So we got that here. Now I'm going to pass it over to Uncle Rockstar. The one thing I do kind of want to mention, and I hate to be the like body language guy here, but it is interesting how Mechanic and Luke are like the most serious ones on stage and everyone's kind of messing around. You know, I don't know if that's saying something or what, but I just found that to be the most interesting. This technical discussion, I'll be completely frank with you guys, is totally above my pay grade here. Hence why I brought this up with Uncle Rockstar here. So Uncle Rockstar Dev, maybe just do a little recap, or, you know, what's your thoughts on this whole core versus knots debate? We have seen that people are switching from core to knots. I think it's up to like 7 or 9% of people have switched over, or it went from like 3% of people using knots to like 7 or 9 now. So it has caused an uproar in the Bitcoin community, or rather amongst node runners. It's obviously the new current trend. It's the whole controversy. It's the main controversy going on right now. So Uncle Rockstar, the floor is yours. Maybe sum this up or give your thoughts on what's going on.
I mean, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. Because one thing that I do love about current debate is that it's energizing everyone. And that's the biggest thing that I love. The biggest thing that I dislike about debate is that we're now segmenting into these camps where increasingly people are excluded because they're not of certain status. So what you were saying, like, this is above your pay grade. As a Bitcoiner, you may have an opinion that you're not experienced enough, or you don't have a knowledge on something in order, so you say, okay, like, I shouldn't be discussing this. But what's really problematic for me is that we are going into these levels where certain people are saying, like, okay, I am Bitcoin core developer, hence I'm above you, 30 plebs, and when I talk, you actually do not understand what I'm talking about. Another great thing about this debate is that I saw that people understand what is UTXO set, what is growth of UTXO set compared to growth of blockchain size, of up return going directly in block, while the signatures, the way that ordinals embed them, they go into witness section with data, and that the problem we have there is that we're still increasing UTXO set. So if I may sum up everything that I'm saying, is like, I do want to see more debates like this one, where people are sitting next to each other and talking to each other, rather than, we post online and then you have me posting something, then Luke responds, then Lop responds, and then we have Luke yelling that we are being raped by JPEGs, and then people spamming us, and Lop rubbing it in our face and whatnot. I don't know if you saw that tweet.
Yeah. I've been trying to follow along because, again, it's like my job to at least summarize the controversy for people to make up their own minds. But to ask you, Uncle Rockstar, because I, like you said, I'm basically just reading Twitter and I'm just trying to parse through all these different tweets, and it gets crazy. So I was very happy to see this Oxford style debate yesterday. So you can see everyone sitting, semi-cordial instead of just, hurling insults at each other on Twitter. But my question to you is this controversy, I think, as people are kind of feeling it out, like, is this controversy as catastrophic as everyone is making it out to be, or is this kind of like a blown out of proportion debate going on right now?
It really depends from which side you're looking at it, because the biggest thing for me, again, is this separation and segmentation of different levels of people, because plebs that are participating in the conversation, a lot of them have a good hunch and good approach, and they are contributing to debate in a good manner. Luke said during this episode that block size wars were about ensuring that Bitcoin cannot be changed by rich or by some kind of rulers, and what we are seeing now is that Bitcoin Core is essentially forcing the issue. Yeah, if I may share, you see it on my screen, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Is like, essentially, regardless of everything that you guys are saying, next release will relay and mine transactions whose op return is over 80 bytes. So, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what you say. So Fractal Encrypt had this great meme, right? Where, and that's really what worries me the most, is because, okay, that's merged in Bitcoin Core. Who runs this? It's like, because it's us that are running our nodes that we disagree with this direction, yet it's forced upon us. So I would love if there was more sensibility from Bitcoin Core and people within Bitcoin Core and people that are in these conversations that are happening with companies like Cytria, that it's like, okay, let's look for better ways for you guys to embed arbitrary data into blockchain. So that's really
wait. Uncle Rockstar, can you put that meme up so I can read it for the audio listeners? So, guys, for the audio listen, look, guys, I even got a meme review on here for you guys. It's the meme of like the aristocrats looking down from their patio or their ledge here, and it goes, Bitcoin Core's next release will by default relay and mine transactions whose op return outputs exceed 80 bytes and allow any number of these outputs. So there's a meme for the audio listeners. I think I totally agree. And as we had a comment here, B Sub My Wingman says the debate is good for education. And like you said, Rockstar, the fact that we're having this debate, I think, is good to kind of get everyone up to speed. And I think we're still kind of figuring out how this plays out, because I did see in the Oxford style debate, Peter Todd kept saying something similar or something on the lines like, if there was a better way to do this, we would do this. There just isn't. And Mechanic saying the other one, it's like filters work. So this is like the whole debate going on right now, I think.
No, as a developer, I can tell you right away how technically this can be done. if you standardize the Rotamore, like those ordinal style inscription template, and instead of doing op return where the data goes directly into block, you redirect that data into witness section. That would allow people that don't want to host ordinals or these anchors or whatnot to, once their validation of the node is done, they can prune all that stuff, not only from the UTXO set, which is extremely important, but from their hard disk as well, with other witness data that's no longer needed once you've built up the UTXO set. But again, this is why if other people were included in discussion, other developers that are beyond this this current core circle, they could have contributed to it. So unfortunately, they didn't, and I again hope that this is not merged, exactly because there are better solutions that people can look into.
Got it. Love it, Rockstar. Well, really appreciate you talking about that. Let's move on to the more fun stuff here. I know the controversy is the current topic, and everyone's freaking out on Twitter. Everyone's slinging, insults at each other on Twitter. It's become the all the rage right now. But let's talk about what you wanted to come and talk about today. Thank you for doing that as someone that is a little more technical than I am here. What are you working on? You told me before the show that you really want to talk about Bitcoin as money and that you guys are shooting to break a Guinness World Record. So what is all this about?
Yes. So in this whole op return debate, there is a big theme is like, let's use Bitcoin as money. So this is related. It is let's do it. Let's use Bitcoin as money at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. And I love to say, like, if it is a Bitcoin conference, you got to be able to pay with Bitcoin. So anyone that's coming to Las Vegas, May 28th, will be able to participate in this. Get your, Lightning wallets ready. Get your Bitcoin wallets ready. And if you're buying anything at the conference, you are participating in setting a Guinness World Record for most Bitcoin transactions in a single day at in-person event. So yeah, be part of the history. And then if you don't have any sets or anything, like, find me, find Uncle Rockstar, and I'm going to give you one of these Bolt cards, because they will be available in official conference store for $10. But you're like, no, I don't want to invest $10.
That's too much money.
I want to ride free. Like, I'll find Rockstar. I'll give you one of these laser eye cards, and I can actually premiere one of the designs, because there are 4 designs. One of them is Satoshi, to feature cypherpunks, but 3 other are Michael Saylor, Jack Dorsey, and Senator Cynthia Lummis. So hopefully people are able to collect all 4. And then we will have Michael Saylor actually doing a transaction. And who says that Michael is not in medium of exchange? Come on. So yeah, let me see if I can bring up a graphic. But that's what's going on. And again, anyone from audience that's watching this, that's coming to Las Vegas, like, let's go. I will be with Nico and Opti and then Simply Bitcoin crew. So we're gonna do transactions as well.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, do you know what the what do you call it? What is the number of transactions that you have to make to beat the Guinness World Record?
So this is what Guinness is now researching, because we also want to give shout out to previous events that were focused on Bitcoin as medium exchange as money, like Baltic Honey Badger, and then Bitcoin Atlantis did a great job last year with Bitcoin as money. So they're researching, but it should be around like several thousand. They will have the exact number, and we'll announce it before the conference starts, so we know what is the goal. And then the thing is, this is a community record. Like, it's not Uncle Rockstar's record or whatnot. And I really hope once it's established, in Guinness World Record book that other events, other conferences, they break it. They set it again and like higher and higher. So really excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to clarify here, it's just about using Bitcoin to transact. It doesn't necessarily need to be with, the cards that you're selling. It's just using Bitcoin. So
Yes.
make sure you guys set up your Bitcoin wallets beforehand if you're going to Las Vegas and participate in this. It's not just, Uncle Rockstar here shilling his products. It's about you guys using Bitcoin. So just wanted to make that clear here.
Yes, spend and replace, spend and replace.
Let's go. Okay. Let's do one last caveat here. I would like to hear Uncle Rockstar talk about Bitcoin as money. I know that's kind of like, this is part of this op return debate, is that debate of what, like, is Bitcoin money? Is Bitcoin, just a data storage network? And then, we've been talking about it throughout the show, this idea of Bitcoin as money. So maybe right when we're wrapping up, could you do a little TLDR elevator pitch of Bitcoin as money? And this is what we're all doing here.
I think if Bitcoin ends up being, decentralized database storage, I will not be excited by it, and I don't think 99% of Bitcoiners will be excited by it either. People that were excited about it, they moved to Ethereum or something. If Bitcoin ends up just being store of value, so that those of us that are rich, we become richer. Again, I think Bitcoin has failed. I think Bitcoin only fulfills its promise if it becomes the next, iteration of money, and allows us as humanity to go to the next level. Because money is great as a tool for truth. You shouldn't worship money, but you should definitely use money as a tool to point you towards the truth, because we all know experiences when we have something and we're like, this is amazing, and others around us are saying, oh, it's amazing as well. And then you ask them, okay, like, I'll give you this, you give me $10, and they're like, no. So money is a tool for truth, and I think, again, Bitcoin only succeeds if it is money. And that's my stance on it. I would love to hear Luke's stance on this.
Yeah, my stance is a simple one that comes with a simple caveat. I'm a 28-year-old loser with a terrible haircut, and I am not a technical expert, but I just think Bitcoin is, like Rockstar said, it's money. It's supposed to be money. I personally, again, I love the permissionlessness aspect about Bitcoin. I love that the rules can't be changed, they can't be bended. If I had my personal preference, though, I don't want to be paying $500 fees because some idiot is jamming JPEGs into the blockchain. I'm much more comfortable paying $500 fees in the future because billions of people are using Bitcoin as money. That's just my personal preference. Again, I do think eventually we will be paying $100, $500, $1,000 fees to get our transactions into the next block of Bitcoin. I would just prefer that day comes a little bit further in the future. And again, my preference is that it comes purely because Bitcoin is succeeding as money. But again, that's just my personal preference. I love the fact that we can't change Bitcoin, and it is very permissionless. Permissionless? Is that how you say that? That's a hard word to say on a live stream. But again, that's just my opinion on the topic. I don't have a strong opinion on it because I'm not a technical expert in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm a monetary maxi here. I think of Bitcoin as money. As much as the kind of meme of Bitcoin is simply just a database, and you can jam whatever messages you want in it. I'm definitely more on the side of, I want the monetary network to be purely monetary transactions. That's my take on all this stuff. I'm here for Bitcoin as money. And I think, like Rockstar said, if Bitcoin, morphs into just being a decentralized database storage network, that's not why we're here. Like, yeah, maybe the price would go up. I don't even think the price would go up if that were the case, if Bitcoin just turned into a database. I think everyone here, if they're kind of truthful, and I know it's like, I'm getting reminded of what Jameson Lopp said. He's like, there's an autistic technical side and a more ideological side, and I don't know which side I fall into here, but I look at Bitcoin as a monetary network, and I want all the transactions to be peer-to-peer transactions of money. I think that's what we were here to do. So I do find it interesting, though. Like, I do like that this debate is coming up and happening, because it is making me have to like sharpen my sword here and sharpen my know-how. Every couple of years, you think you know everything about Bitcoin, and then something happens, and then you have to force yourself to make a decision, because it is all about individuals here. This is about you running your node and what you want in your node. And that's the important thing. As much as I've been kind of saying, and me and Luke are kind of both tongue in cheek saying this is above our pay grade, we're not that technical. At the end of the day, we will be forced to having to run our nodes. Whether that's choosing knots or core, we will have to pick what node we want to run, and that will, inevitably lead to what's going to happen further down the road. So this is a personal decision, but I'm also on the monetary side. I'm a monetary maxi. I think Bitcoin is money. I want to keep it as money, and I'm just doing my part here. Am I that narcissistic where I think I'm going to fundamentally change this conversation? No, but I want to talk about it and bring it up on the show so that we can all have this conversation.
But you will. That's the biggest point that I want to make, is that, of course, you're not technical and you can't directly open PRs, but you look at developers that are crying that they don't have the reach that you have with Simply Bitcoin and being on YouTube. So, and again, the best thing about Bitcoin are Bitcoiners. So when that PR was opened, a lot of Bitcoiners were like, oh, there is something behind this. And there is something behind this in a sense of Cytria and other VC funded companies that are getting into Bitcoin, that are rich and influential, and that what's happening here is Bitcoin, if this goes through, is changed. Do we want this as Bitcoiners? Yes or no? So that part should also be debated, rather than just getting a blank statement where like, okay, in next release of Bitcoin Core, this is how it will be. So again, what I invite is like everyone that's in Bitcoin, say what you see and participate in discussion, of course, in a respectable manner, so that you don't go full like Bcash or Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, where you get pissed and then you fork. Like, BSV, man, it was like a fork of a shit coin. Terrible. So don't let your emotions guide you in a bad place, but definitely participate in the discussion, especially if you're a Bitcoiner that's successful in like not developing stuff, but communicating with other Bitcoiners, promoting Bitcoin, and as you said, scamming people with clickbait titles into profits. That's good thing, man. Like, congrats for getting people's holdings up and assets.
Let's go. Look, if you take anything away from this, we got the stamp of approval from Uncle Rockstar to continue to be clickbait scammers and making you buy and stack as much Bitcoin as possible. So I absolutely love that. Actually, one last question, Uncle Rockstar. Putting this debate in context, is this, the 2025 version of the block size wars in 2017? Because we're starting to see it is kind of fragmenting a little bit here, and people are picking their camps here. Is this, going to become, or is it turning into the next USAF or UASF? I'm missing.
User activated soft
UASF. Exactly.
I mean, it's not that level, but I don't think there will be big forking happening here. It's just that if new release of Bitcoin Core just unilaterally goes with this, then people will not run it. There will be a significant percentage of people not running it. And you can look up statistics of Bitcoin Core versions. there is increasingly hesitancy to upgrade. And even if you're on version 26 of Bitcoin Core right now, you're good. So this version is getting released is what, like 29 or something 8. So there are several major releases you can run. It's just, it will be a signal that we should monitor, and then see what clients people will run. Because if NOTs gets over 10% of usage, that's extremely significant. And I would love to say that's a good path, but what worries me with NOTs is that Luke is a single maintainer, so he's just publishing to master branch. And I don't see that sustainable. So yeah, we'll see. But I also don't see that we will have big forks like BCH and Roger Ver crying about babies dying. And we're not to that level.
Good times. Wow. Yeah, what throwback times here. But yeah, man, I think I'm with you 100%. It does seem like it kind of got a little overhyped, and I know, like we said earlier, it depends on what side of the aisle you are on. Maybe you think this is the biggest apocalyptic moment, or the other side, it's like it's happening anyways. We're just trying to clean up the code base. But it does seem like everyone kind of got emotional about it on Twitter, and hopefully now, after a week or so, clear heads are prevailing. And personally, like, I haven't updated my node in I don't even know how many updates, like at least 3 updates. I'm one of those where a new update comes out and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait like a year or so until I fully figure out what's going on. Like, I don't update my Bitcoin Core node like right when it comes out. I wait a little while. So
because you as a user of Bitcoin, you're like, okay, devs cleaned up a code base. What does that do for you? Nothing, man. And they're like, okay, if you upgrade now, you would be able to relay up return transactions under 80 bytes. As you're like, no, I don't want to participate in that, because I don't want to move Bitcoin towards being like one big decentralized database. I want to send signal that for me, Bitcoin is money. So this is again where I urge my fellow developers to not maybe even like listen to feedback, but observe feedback from standpoint of like, these are users of Bitcoin. And I, as a developer, I am responsible to, especially as a fast developer, I'm responsible to translate user feedback into code. Like, code doesn't exist so that I have a code base to work on and get the status and respect and what the people are relying on us as developers to build systems and build tools that can build Bitcoin in such a way that when more people are onboarded, they're not paying, as Luke, as you said, $100 in transaction fees. This is why we have been building Lightning for so long. This is why I have participated in BTC Pay server. Then I joined Jack Mallers to create Strike as well. So it's really up to, I would say, us as developers to hear this feedback and then work to implement it and enjoy this ride as other people are working on number go up. So yeah, writing clickbait titles and all of that.
Yeah, you guys do the heavy lifting, and we were going to scam people into buying Bitcoin. You heard it here first. This is a symbiotic relationship between the devs and the Bitcoin e-girls out here like myself. So hey, we're working together, man. All right, hey, Uncle Rockstar, we're at the end of the show, but is there any last message you want to leave with the people? Any last final thoughts? And then I'll wrap up today's show.
No, just buy Bitcoin, have fun, burn dirty fiat, and listen to Simply Bitcoin. Yeah, follow their clickbait titles.
Yeah,
That's called motherfucking bud.
Oh man. All right. Well, Rockstar, can't wait to see you in Vegas. It's always a good time. We'll have to. We're going to be streaming from the floor in Vegas, I think. So once we get the table and we figure out all the logistics, we're going to have to bring you on. Those are the funnest news breaks is when we're hanging out with Uncle Rockstar. And I hope you guys caught the BitBlock Boom one. That one was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, when we're hugging Janet Yellen, you and me. Yeah, we need to get like Janet Yellen on there. Yeah. So
yeah, we need to get her back on the show. All right, let me pull you off. So Uncle Rockstar, hang out for a couple seconds, like 30 seconds a minute as I wrap up today's show. Actually, Uncle Rockstar, go follow him on Twitter. It is Rockstar Dev, but the O is a 0, so R0CKSTARDEV. Is there anywhere else you want to send people to follow you?
no, X is good. Like I am on Nostr, but you will find where. Just follow me on X.
Let's go. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate it, Uncle Rockstar. Hang out for a second while I wrap up today's show. Luke, as the chat said, this might have been the most quiet you've been on the show, but thanks for filling in last moment. Literally, Nico texted me at like 10 this morning, like, I'm actually not coming on the show today. I'm like, okay. So anyways, Luke, thanks for filling in last minute, and let's plug your socials and we'll wrap up today's show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Opti. Always a blast here to, again, try to scam some people into profits. I'm also doing that on YouTube as well. So if you want to be scammed into some profits or scammed into being more bullish or learning why you need to self-custody your Bitcoin, I talk about all that kind of stuff on YouTube as well. So thanks for having me, Opti.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Shout out to Uncle Rockstar. We are scamming you into profits. Absolutely love it. All right, guys, last thing before I go, of course, we've been talking about it. We are going to Vegas. It is literally, 20 days away. 20 days away. Make sure you get to Las Vegas and you hang out with us at Bitcoin 2025. We are going to be on the floor. We're going to be doing the live show. We're going to have the whole team there. You can come say hi, come hang out with us over there on the floor of the Venetian. It is May 27th through the 29th. I think this one is going to be huge. As you can tell, the price is pumping. This might be the biggest Bitcoin conference yet. So make sure you get your ticket, scan the QR code, and use simply all caps for 10% off. All right, guys, on that note, I love you guys. This was episode 1240, I believe. We will be back tomorrow. I will be hosting again. Nico is figuring out he literally got kicked out of his sister's house. He's taking up too much space there. So he's got to figure out his studio. We'll be back with the normal show on Monday, but you're stuck with me tomorrow. So, I'm going to sneak in some memes tomorrow. On that note, guys, I love you. It's been Opti, and we'll be back tomorrow. So get outside, touch some grass, eat some good food, call your loved ones. Number is going up. It feels good. Later.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.